You actually want to be um, a person that you can rely on, a person that you can talk about stuff, maybe not with others, and being accountable. I actually think that funny and all that, but I was a bad listener.
Wow.
And then I was also looking at my job where all the time, oh, I have an idea. I have an idea. Oh, why don't we do that? So at meetings, well, I didn't hear what all the other was saying because I had the answer. So at some of the meetings, I needed to sit on my hands because you are on this journey and start listening.
Yeah.
You need to invest time in other people.
Welcome to The Climb, where I help Christian men live fully, lead boldly, and leave a legacy that matters. I'm your host, Teko Bailey, husband, father, life coach, and your guide in the climb. Whether you're navigating fatherhood, building a business, or simply longing to live more purpose, this is the space to rise.
But the harp, it's a wonderful instrument because you can actually, it's you need to have the ears to hear when it is not is so it's just but she's actually very talented.
Wow.
So she was for an exam because they have this music for talented kids course on a school. And even though she's only 12 years, they said, well, maybe she could do the tryout.
Wow.
And we will find out how it was. So she was just, I think it's because she's also doing acrobatic.
Yeah.
So she has been to many competitions. So she was just like, well, yeah, let's try that out. And she went in there and played some stuff, and also together with another one who's playing a cello. So they also need to show that they can play together with someone. And the cello actually was doing something and they didn't follow the script. And she was just like, and totally calm, where people would do like, oh no, and do all their faces. And then afterwards, they did a test on her where she needed to show different kind of ways and techniques, and also how her rhythm was. And then she came out, and then and they were like examination they're talking about, and then she came in, and they said, "Wow, you're very gifted, and we will like to ask you if you want to be on this talent course the next year, and if you should get a grade, it will be an A+++." So she was just like, wow, but I made some arrows, but you know when you were doing the arrows and you were just like, keeping
She kept going,
Yeah.
That's very good. You must be a proud dad. What a good,
for sure. It was just like, and that's where I go through these, when you get older, emotional periods. And it was just like, Maggie, you know that because also as a teacher, the grades is not the most important thing, but I am proud. Just like, and I get goosebumps now all over. So it is,
No,
you always treasure when your kids are doing good.
The harp is a really lovely instrument, though. Just playing those strings they're just amazing. No, playing in an orchestra is always just such an amazing thing, and takes a lot of team effort and coordination. But I agree with you that that's easily transferable to your area of sports, which is a nice segue into talking about how you got into sports. Because you're a coach in many ways. Welcome to The Climb, Martin.
Yeah. Well, my name is Martin Blaksker Strømberg from Denmark, and I'm actually 47 years old now. I can't, it's
so
amazing.
Young.
But so young still. But for many years, actually, when I was very small, I started up playing badminton. That was my game. Played it for many years, and actually was pretty talented. And if you play badminton in Denmark, and if you're good at it, then you are very close to the elite. Then we have some fellows out in Asia. They're also very talented, but Denmark has always been very close to that. So for many years, that was my game, my court, and it's a very individual game. When I got children, for sure, I was telling them, and I actually was hoping for, found out later that I must have been praying for no one started at badminton, because having me as a parent or as a coach on the outside, maybe knowing everything and how it should be doing right and all these kind of things. So no one has starting up playing badminton. So I'm so grateful for that, because it must have been, thank you, Lord.
So take me back into a little bit of that. What inspired you to go into badminton, and how did all of that lead into your profession as a coach?
Mm.
And it's soccer, right? You coach soccer teams in Denmark,
because we call it football in Denmark, and in Europe it's all about football. But if you go to the US, then it's soccer, and that is the very big thing. Well, sport has always been a big part of me, and also in the school. And I think that I was one of these very irritating person that if they give me a racket and I could play that game, give me a ball and I could run very fast and dribble and do all these kind of things. So, but especially racket games, and it's that thing that you sometimes feel if you're playing a game that you are in the zone. And I think that having a brother older years than me, he was very good in the school, and we went to the same private school. And Martin was for sure not like his brother. He was more like, where's the ball and all those kind of things. Maybe running more around, and many of the teachers were comparing me and my big brother. And I also sometimes saying like, well, you're not like your older brother. And well, maybe in that part of my life, I would say, no, for sure, I'm not. Woo. And in a way where I found peace, and someone maybe was more telling me that I had a talent was in sports. And especially when I found badminton. I was also playing a lot of tennis, but tennis has always in Europe been a snob sport. And well, badminton, that was more like, and we also had a team competition, and it was great. So I think finding the way and finding a place where Martin could be Martin, and not compared with others, because it's also the individual thing. You can also play it as double and mix, but and that was why when I came older, because like it was when I was, I think 15, 16, it was natural for me to be coaching the kids in badminton. So and we had some great badminton trainers, coaches in our club. They were, just amazing. Maybe not the best badminton players, but they was just like, they were in the club all the time and was taking care of us. And it's finding that place where you are, you feel you have peace, you feel the flow, where you also are. It's not like, oh, by the way, how are you doing? It's it's the natural way that the people are seeing you, and of course it helps that you are talented. No doubt about that. It's never funny to struggle, even though that is where we break through. But finding a talent and being recognized, not like the kid in the school and compared with others. And it's not, well, I have a great relationship with my brother. It's not that, but also always maybe being in the shadow, and where also your family is talking about those kind of things. And Martin is Martin. He has other qualities, and
Exactly.
yeah. So maybe that thing being in the shadow and then coming out to the light. I have not prepared saying that, but I think that sounded good.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And in your environment, finding your environment. So that was what badminton gave me, and it was naturally for me to give something back. So being a trainer, being a coach, having teams there, because to give that back to others. Not because well, there was no at that time salary. Maybe I got a T-shirt where there was standing,
yeah.
and so it was just amazing. And we were in that time so many who was just hanging out in the club,
Yeah.
and we had a great sports fellowship together.
Wow. So as you jump forward, how did that help you establish your career in the sporting arena as a coach? Talk to me about some of those moments in terms of how you got to where you now are. Perhaps what setbacks were there in that journey as
Yeah.
you became a coach?
After I graduated in compared in Denmark high school, I was in the military for 2.5 years, and it was not like I was not good enough to do the elite badminton.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that was actually not easy to accept it, but actually earlier in my high school, I did some choices about not following that dream.
Yeah.
So in a way, I was maybe not on the right track. And the military, of course, because my big brother, he went to the military, so I should do that.
Yeah.
We do that in the family.
Yes.
And it was not, well, some of it was a good experience, but it was like when I was a sergeant, and then it was just like, well, this is not my game. And I don't want to be, hustling around with other people and telling them what
Yeah.
to do. So it was just like I was having this battle inside of me that, I think I was actually a good military man because I was,
Yeah.
fast and shooting good and all these kind of things. But it was just like, well, some of the officers, when they were talking to me, I think that in the US they would say that I was a big socialist at that time
Yeah.
because I would say, why are you so angry? What are your
Yeah.
issues? Because of course I can do this, but just tell me in a polite way.
Yeah.
So maybe I was not that mature sometimes in these moments.
Not
So
not
the
fully
military,
not fully military material, as they would say.
yeah. And after that, I was not sure about what to do actually. So I was working as a social worker for 2.5 years and was starting up playing some badminton again. But it was just like, it was not easy finding the right level
Yes.
because accepting, well, I will never be on top of the game, of course, but using so much time, and it was not like I was not ready just to say let it go, and it was just having fun playing it
Yeah.
because when I'm doing sport, I want to win. It's
Yes.
whatever it is, because well, when it's game on, we're doing what we can, and afterwards we have a blast because talking about all these kind of things. So before the game, I'm very humble, and this is going to be a good game. But when it's game on, then yeah,
Competition. You're
yeah,
competitive.
for sure. Yeah, very competitive. I like to analyze what's going on. Yeah. So going through that period, working a couple of years as a social worker before starting at reading to be a teacher. That was in my first period, getting a family. It was like, because then it's important that my kids are going to do something in their spare times. They are going to find out what sport do they want to also embrace some of their talents. So I was, of course, thinking back to what was the trainers, the coaches, especially good at. How did they see my potential? How did they? Because tournaments was great, but I just love being in the club and being a part of it. So what were they doing for we as kids were having this great atmosphere? And it was not always because of they were great players. It was about having this fellowship, having this club atmosphere where it was, of course, we were not all that talented, but how could they do that when my kids then started? And in the beginning, as a parent, for me, I said, well, you need to learn to swim. You need to learn an instrument, and then you need to do a sport.
Yes.
And that's no argue about that. That is what we do.
Yes.
So then Louis, my son, he's 14 now. He wanted to play football because his older brothers were also playing that. And it was just like, in his young years, he was just like, he was amazing. He still is amazing. But when they were out playing, and I will come back to me as a coach, but then when they were saying, good game, when he was standing in the line, he was always saying, we're winning, we're winning, we're winning. There was no doubt about that. He knew what to do.
I guess what I'm hearing is, as your family started growing, there were some basic expectations of maybe what sports or extracurricular activity they invest time in to have them develop as humans, as you might put it. And so as your son went into football, is that what led you more into this coaching?
In Denmark, we have these things you can do in your spare time. It's not the school, the universities, they are not having all these sports activities. You can do sports, but then you can be a part of a club, and you can go to so many great things, actually. But then Louis, he started playing, and I was standing on the sideline and think, I'm here because I want to invest time. I want to invest time in my children.
Yeah.
So instead of just standing outside, then I could put something into this game. I said to the coach, can I help you with something? And he said, yeah, it will be great, because we always need volunteers in all the clubs in Denmark. A couple of years, I was the assistant coach, learning a lot. He was very technical and skilled and a good trainer. Maybe not always that good at the kids. We had a good team combined together, because I was very aware about when shall I tell him these kind of things. And sometimes also saying, you need to talk to that kid and those parents.
Yeah.
Why? Because there was nothing wrong in those kind of things. No, but there was something wrong in the way you said it. Because today we had a kid walking home, and I heard you saying, see you next time. But he was not sure if how you meant it. I know you meant it like you're looking forward for him coming to practice again, but you were yelling a little at him in some of the exercises that not was that good, and you need to follow up on that and follow up with the parents, and that is where I found out one of my special areas. I love talking with parents in the school and in the clubs, because, well, I in a way always I think that it's all those kind of things they are unaware about. So when we are doing something, it's because many years ago we had a book. That is where I have my secrets. This is how I'm going to play. This is my special design. But today we share it with all. So, for example, we are going to do these exercises because this and this and this and that. And if we're talking with the parents, well, in this period, we are doing these kind of things because that will be good for this and this and that.
Yeah.
So, because the way they played football, badminton, tennis, whatever, for 20 years ago, well, it's a new game today. And the new game, especially for the kids, is that, of course, we want to create some talents who can go all the way, but having a fellowship and being in that kind of fellowship, it's a success if you play your game when you're 40, 50, 60. That's great. Having that fellowship your whole life instead of, and that's where I saw something that kids at the age of 12 and 13, they stop because it's too much. Because there's too much training, too big expectations from the coaches. And that is where we need to look in. So how can we make this environment great for all and not push them too much? So it was not always those who were maybe not the best and in a natural way, well, I will start with something else. But it was also the very talented we pushed too much.
So I guess in essence, you brought in a bit of the maybe social and emotional complementing to what the other coach was doing in a more physical and technical way in the sport. And I think every game needs that, because if your head is not in the game, and if, as you've said in the beginning, if you're not in the zone, if you don't know how to get in the zone, then you've already lost the game even before you started. I think that is so important in any sport or in any area of life, that you not only have the technical skills, but you have the mental strength and emotional strength to go along with it, to be in it for the long term.
Yeah, and that is where you invest in the whole person and not only the part where they play their sport. Because also, like, when in a way in my football career when I was stepping up, because then I came from assistant coach to coach, head coach, and responsible for the whole youth in that first club, and like saying to them, well, you need to touch, and when I say touch, maybe it's a high five or talk to every player when you have a trainee, and
Team dynamics.
start up, and and it's just like, and it's not like, oh, by the way, how was your day? You start with those kind of things, like finding the atmosphere when they come in. So I said to them, actually, when we start up training, you need to find out where are they. So many things, do the same things, because it's actually nice for them just to do drop-ins. Like, it's not like, well, the time is, move on. Well, they need to drop in because maybe something went wrong in the school, or maybe their mom and dad were yelling at them before they went to sport or whatever. So doing these kind of drop-in zones and finding out, where are you today? Are you ready for that we shall push it, or are we doing something more like, well, I'm coming here because this is my second home and I just want to relax today. And so I think that was a new thing, seeing the human and not only the player.
For those athletes, or maybe more at the top of their game, and it's a professional career for them, whether it's tennis or football or basketball, I don't know if you have the answer, but just hearing what you're mentioning, do you think it is this kind of support that more athletes need to help them get to the top of their game. I've heard many successful athletes at the end, when they've won all the medals and trophies and everything, it's like they don't know who they are without the sport anymore, and they seem to fall apart and have, in a sense, no identity. Do you think this could be because a lack of that kind of mentorship or support in the earlier years?
It is always combined, but no doubt about, because we have some top athletes in Denmark I actually have been spoken with, and one in the badminton, Camilla Martin. She actually today it's a game for her just to enter um, a um, a facility where they're playing badminton, because it was too much. She was one of the best in the world, but to visit it again. So on her journey, and she said she was lucky because, well, she's at my age, that she was, even though she was very, very talented, but that was before a talent like her will be discovered at the age of 9 and 10.
Yeah,
She was so lucky that she was also on trips where they were sleeping all together in the gym room and whatever, and having French fries and soda pops when she was
yeah,
13, 14. But that would not be possible today. So if she was playing today and the talent she had, well, there was so many years of what also the game, the sport brings in, that she will not have expected, and that would have meant that she maybe would have stopped earlier in her
yeah,
career,
yeah,
because even though she was on top of her games, but time she was using uh, with mental coaches,
yeah,
because of the environment was so hard. And today it's just, yeah, it's very much harder. So if you can push that time more and more, and saying that instead of when, yeah, it's ridiculous when they're 9 and 10, it's just like you're looking at them. So if we can push it just 2 years, 3 years, four
yeah,
years, 5 years, yeah, that is what most of these top athletes says. That of course there are many things. Well, they great trips and adventures and whatever, but if we could push that, so that she can visit a
yeah,
badminton
yeah.
today, not like having, oh, this is too much, all the memories, and it's not all good
Negative
memories.
experiences, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So throughout your journey, as you tried to find your spot where you could shine, what would you say was maybe one of those difficult moments where you feel like you had a major setback, and how
Mm.
did you get through that?
Having a family, and also want to spend as much time together with your family.
Yeah,
Also want to implement what you think is a good life, and
yes,
then having the time, and then sometimes saying, well, I cannot do all these kind of things.
yeah,
There's no much time, and how can I prioritize my time? For many years, and maybe still, I've been working with time issues. So because, well, maybe you're good at that and good at that, but what is your purpose, and what is your legacy? I think when I met Dorte, my wife,
yeah,
she was asking me so many clever questions. And she was challenge me like no one ever had been challenging me before. And I can say it now, I'm so blessed, because if she hasn't challenged me with those kind of things, well, well, Martin would sure be a great dude, but he would not be a duty dude. Oh, I don't know what the right word is, but so digging in yourself and asking those kind of questions, because, well, I can teach, I can do sport, but with no bigger goal and no bigger purpose.
Yeah.
You can go on for some years, but you will always then run into something. And I've been doing that in as a teacher, because then I was a place, had a great job, but then something happened. And in the beginning, I couldn't see what actually was happening. Was it because Martin was too much Martin? Was it because we got a new leadership and I didn't know who I was actually in these periods? So working in myself, working when I met Dorte, starting your new faith, becoming a believer, and actually finding your true soul.
Yeah.
Whew, that's a journey.
Wow.
That's not easy. That's not
Wow.
just like doing something on the badminton or in the football. It's so easy. Those pieces are so easy to put in place. It's sometimes people say, "How can you do that?" That's no problem. But dig into yourself.
Yeah.
Whew, that's a
Wow.
mystery. Yeah.
What was the most difficult part in that process as your wife began asking you those questions and you were digging in?
And one of the first big experience was I was out together with some of my family and some friends, and I think it was because Louis was only half a year or something. Daughter wasn't there, but when I came home, then daughter asked me, how it went. So when I came home, daughter said, "Oh, how was it?" And I said, "Oh, it was great, and it was so funny." And I said hello from my cousins and my whatever. And so, what did they talk about? What's your cousin doing now? Yeah, what's he's actually doing? But what about that couple you haven't seen for many years? What are they doing now? Yeah, that's a good question. What are they actually doing now? Were you just talking all the time, Martin? Yeah, I must have been talking all the time. So in the age of beginning of the 30s, accepting that you're a very bad listener.
Yeah.
And you actually want to be a person that you can rely on, a person that you can talk about stuff, maybe not with others, and being accountable. And it was just like it was crashing all down the image I have about myself, because I actually think that I'm funny and all that, but I was a bad listener.
Wow.
And then I was also looking at my job where all the time, "Oh, I have an idea. I have an idea. Oh, why don't we do that?" So at meetings, well, I didn't hear what all the other was saying, because I had the answer on so many things. So, and in that period, I was actually a team leader. So I had staff, and at some of the meetings, I needed to have a note block and then sit on my hands, because you are on this journey and start listening.
Yeah.
You need to invest time in other people.
Yeah.
You need to listen to what they're saying, what else they are doing instead of their job and all these kind of things. So investing more time authentical in people at the age of the beginning of 30s, that's not easy. That is not easy. Because it was just like I was like this popcorn machine with all these ideas. So actually, sometimes I think that letting go of these kind of things And that is why later, together with Dorte, on one of our fellow journeys at the John Maxwell team, where I met some great persons, I need to say. But
what a trip that one was. That was
yeah, yeah. So having the a knowledge about you need to be more authentical in your listening. So I think that when my more professional way of coaching began, I was ready. I was ready on that journey because I had learned it the hard way that it's not all about me. Even though I'm a great person, I have many good ideas. But if I'm going to coach someone, if I want to tell them what to do, it's impossible. They need to be on their own journey. They need to be, because I was mentoring. I was not coaching. I was saying, do this, that will be good for you.
Yes, yeah.
And so needing to begin with myself, dig deeper, finding the true, the soul. Who am I? What do I want to do? What is my purpose? Still trying to figure it out. Luckily, it's not on schedules.
It's a journey.
Mm. And actually also because accepting that I cannot do it alone.
So you talked about just growing up, your love for sports and pretty much doing well at any sport that comes in your direction, and just the journey of growth you've experienced through that season in your life, then moving into more of your career as a teacher, and then one who became a coach, more from helping your kids to now being the one of Denmark's coaches in the football federation. And then in the midst of all of that, learning now how to become a better listener. I think your coaching skills plus your listening skills really complement each other. What have you found to be most fulfilling, or let me say the new version of the Martin that you are today compared to the one who you were in previous years?
I think that for sure that the new one is, and still on his journey, that it is totally from the heart and authentical. So, for example, when I'm doing interviews with the new kids on the schools and parents, I'm very honestly, and I say to them, I am maybe one of the most curious persons on this planet. Because I want you to grow as much as possible. And if you're not sometimes are a little weird, upside and tired of this day, it's because I haven't pushed you enough. But we need to find the right balance. And we need to find where, because this is something we are going to work together with. I'm going to work with these parents together. How can we push these children? Not too much, but we need to do it because life is not a relaxing. So if they can be aware at earlier stages about who they are and grasp their own ground, because I think one of the things that, and that is in some of the schools I've been working, that is seeing young people at ages 13, 14, and there are no spark. If they at that age already has lost their spark, it's just because I can work with a no, I can work with a yes, I can work with a hey, who are you, old man? Oh, you're saying something great. Let's have this conversation. But those who say, I don't care, and at that age, and that's where the real work begins, and especially with the parents. And I think that the older version would just do his job. The new version is very curious about the history, what went, and want to push more to get them to actually finding a new narrative in life, instead of just saying, well, my name is Brian. I hate math. If you want to have something and work with yourself, there are no
So true.
shortcuts
That's so true.
in the long term life. And also back to Maggie playing the harp, it is practice, 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 and not all the practice is like, oh, I just love this. Sometimes, do I need? What do you think? Do you want to
Yeah,
make a great concert? Do you want to
yeah,
relax when you do it, and finding the right balance? Because of course there are sometimes we shall not push on, because if something is too much in their
yeah.
life, our kids and our friends around you.
Know
But
when to take a break.
but there's so much, and I think it was another great coach who also say that you need to have some tough love,
Yeah.
and because
It's
it's
a balance. It's a balance
yeah,
between pushing when you feel like you have the capacity to go further, but also knowing when to pause and take a break so you can be refreshed and you know, as you would say, keep the spark, because you don't want them to burn out. You want
yeah,
them to
yeah, yeah,
keep the spark as they move forward. What's one thing you would say to men who maybe like yourself are going through a similar journey?
to be totally honest, when they find out that yeah, it's not that hard. Of course, sometimes you do not earn that many money, or but whatever.
Yes,
So the good perspective, where I'm investing a lot of time in my family, because I love being a part of them. I want to have them on all the journeys. It's not Project Martin, it's Project, yeah,
that's
family,
right. That's right.
because we are on this journey together. So me as a husband, as a father, with that responsibility, I love to have. But when I am struggling to show that I'm vulnerable, oh, that's not easy.
Mm.
Because I
Wow.
want to be the strong and tough one that
Yeah.
I'm most of the time am. So showing that vulnerability in front of my kids, not being in the best mood, and in front of daughter, my wife, that I'm going through this. I don't know what's right and what's wrong, and she is.
Yeah.
Well, she is my coach of life, and
Yeah.
she
Come
can
on.
just like, and having her supporting me,
Yeah.
um, and also when we were in church yesterday, and finding that peace, and finding those moments in worship and in the script, because there are so many people that has been doing walking the steps before us,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
just sometimes need to. Well, I think it's 2 months ago that I read the same passage that I've been doing many, many times, and just, yeah, remember what to do on Sunday. And what was I doing so many times on my Sunday? I was working, sitting with my laptop, and doing those kind of things. So I was not that busy for the upcoming week. And then I just made that decision, and that's only 2 months old Martin now talking. I'm not working on Sunday. What a gift. What a blessing.
Well, it sounds like, I guess, with time you've matured and you're noticing more the areas that you need to keep growing in. And I think just having the right support in any area, just like a coach or a mentor, is always the best way to move forward in any way in life. It's one of the reasons why I became a life coach, because just working with men like yourself and guys in other areas, is one of the things I enjoy as I help them to get from where they are to where they want to be. Like, as you've said, if you don't have someone who can help you see ahead and help you work on the areas that you really need help in, like as a coach who is working with sport athletes, it's the same thing. You always need somebody who can help you on your personal life so you can become the best version of yourself. And I think that's what I hear you're communicating, that over time, you've taken the necessary steps to become that best version of yourself, not just in the sporting arena, but in your personal life. And I think this is what every man needs as he journeys on his climb and goes through the different seasons in life. um it's just amazing hearing your story and just the journey that you've been through, especially since a younger age, and just kind of seeing how you progressed over the years and became the person you are today. You're not saying that you're perfect, but it's this better version of who you have become and you continue to become each day. And it's
And
just, I feel like a lot of guys would benefit from just hearing this story.
mm, and especially then accepting that you are vulnerable, accepting that you are not perfect, accepting that you
Yeah,
need someone to help you, and
yeah,
especially in the moments and in the period I know I'm going through now, because normally I would have my schedule for the summer and
yes,
all of it, but I know I'm going through a period because it's the unawareness about what is my new job going to do, am I good
yeah,
enough, and
yeah,
why I'm not satisfied in this actually good job I am in. So is it just because Martin is too much about? So I need the climb. I need to
mm-hmm,
climb together with someone. I
yes,
need someone in my corners. I need to accept that Martin cannot do it in
that's
his own
right,
flesh, because
that's right,
Martin should have learned that on his journey now, but he has not. So he needs to,
yeah,
yeah, lay down and um, ask Jesus for guidance and help in these situations.
absolutely,
And remembering that when you are in the good seasons, that praise Him, thank Him.
absolutely,
So through all the seasons, but especially in these seasons, and I should not hide and stay on the couch. I should seek guidance and
yeah,
find them, because I know what's coming out,
yeah,
because now I have seen the pictures, and but we are still on this journey together,
it
and we
is,
need each other. That's why we are, yeah, all combined, and all together in
it
this,
is.
yeah.
I, I'm just going over a little bit on my time here, but I'll wrap up with this last question. Is there any leadership um encouragement that you'd give to another guy who is in the position of a coach?
And I will use a part of my own story, because that, even though that maybe some see me as a leader and wow, you have achieved this and this and this, Martin, but
Yes,
the authentical listening, Martin, wow, the experience of listening to being in a room, and it's just listening to people, and
yes,
uh, and in a way, when you learn to connect, getting deeper in these kind of relationships, because sometimes you, oh, shall I talk to them? But then you want to be authentical in these, yeah, so authentical listening, and that's was for me um, a tough journey, because when people were starting to talk, oh, I know what you're going to say. I know, I know. You don't need to say anymore because and I've been there. So accepting that some people, and for inspiration, I, um, I know some people who talks a lot, and sometimes elder people, just sit down and listen to them and accept, because, well, they have been telling me this story many times. So that's good practice area to visit someone and listen to them and accept it, and not be rude and saying, I have heard that story, but because you hear something new.
That's right.
And it's not about you.
Always to think of the other person as they share with you. Martin, this is a pleasure talking with you, hearing a little bit about your journey and having you here on The Climb. Thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to talking more